And good morning, friends. Welcome to The Bright Side. I am Pharmacist Ben, and thank you for being here. Our number today and every day on The Bright Side is 844-236-6010. We love hearing from you. If you have questions, comments, success stories you'd like to share, or if you simply want to contribute to the conversation, we want to hear from you, 844-236-6010. We'll be talking to Dr. Andrew Lang at the bottom of the hour. He's the author of a book called Getting at the Root of Disease. Dr. Lang is a homeopathic physician, and he's got a lot to say about homeopathy. He's also currently in the process of doing a research study on women's sexual health. We'll be talking to Dr. Andrew Lang at the bottom of the hour, and we'll get your calls in our next segment, 844-236-6010. If you want to purchase longevity products, please go to brightsideben.com, pharmacistben.com, or criticalhealthnews.com. You can also call 866-735-2470, 866-735-2470 for more information. Ask about joining the Brightside Ben team. For a one-time fee, you can be in business for yourself. You can have a home-based business and help change the world at the most fundamental level there is, which is the level of good health and nutrition. Call 866-735-2470 or click on the Join the Team link at brightsideben.com, pharmacistben.com, or criticalhealthnews.com. All right, Dr. Andrew Lang will be with us at the bottom of the hour. We're going to talk homeopathy. We're going to talk about treating the deepest source of disease, and we'll also talk about his latest study on women's sexual health. At the bottom of the hour, we'll get your calls in our next segment, 844-236-6010. So we've been talking about enzymes, the key to life, the battery that runs the machine of life. Nothing happens in the body without enzymes. They are the essential element of all biological life, of plant life, of insect life, of mushroom life, of bacterial life, of animal life, and of course of the life of the human body. No biology occurs without enzymes. Death itself is the result of the inability of enzymes to channel the life force. And in fact, disease can be thought of as the end result of a breakdown, some kind of breakdown in the enzyme production or enzyme processing machinery in the body. As we age, we gradually lose our enzyme potency. In general, our biochemistry becomes less functional, less efficient as we age. That's what aging is. Aging is really biochemistry that's becoming less functional, the manifestation of biochemistry that's becoming less functional. We don't make things as effectively. We don't stop making things as effectively. Much of aging and disease is about hyperproliferation. The default state of a cell is to grow. Breaking a cell, controlling a cell, regulating the cell growth takes a lot of energy. Regulating the cell growth takes enzyme energy. And hyperproliferation, loss of regulation of growth, goes hand in hand with enzyme inefficiency or enzyme deficiency. This biochemical inefficiency or deficiency is largely driven by a lack of enzymes or a reduction in enzyme power. If you take to heart Dr. Howell's theories, Dr. Edward Howell, the author of the book Enzyme Nutrition and the originator of the concept of enzyme replacement or food enzyme replacement, if you take to heart his theories that dietary enzymes, that food enzymes can somehow help you spare your own chemical enzymes, your own metabolic enzymes, you can see how eating a lot of fresh, whole, unprocessed foods can be very important, or at least a large proportion of your dietary intake. Not necessarily a lot of calories, but a large proportion of your calories coming from veggies, from fruits, raw or slightly steamed. I'd go easy on the fruits just because today fruits have so much sugar in them, but nonetheless, fruits are a great source of enzymes. Veggies are a great source of enzymes. So much for the carnivore diet. For the life of me, I cannot figure out why somebody would want to deprive themselves of these powerful sources of enzymes and just eat cooked meat. I had Sean Baker on a couple of weeks ago. I was not impressed. All he says is they're not essential. Well, regardless of whether these things are essential or not, it doesn't mean they're not beneficial. The whole idea of the carnivore diet just seems ludicrous to me. That's just a digression here. Fruits and veggies, raw eggs, raw dairy, even meat, if you're eating it raw, is a great source of enzymes. I don't know anybody that eats raw meat, but if you ate raw meat, theoretically, if you could get away with, if you forget about the fact that raw meat is a source of bacteria, of course, just the idea of eating meat raw is a great source of enzymes. Fish, sushi, And if you're not going to eat your veggies or your eggs or your unprocessed fruits raw, maybe slightly steamed veggies, slightly steamed fish, poached eggs. As most of us can attest to, certainly I can attest to, as we age, we don't recover as readily, and the aches and pains that show up after we exercise, after we work out, after we exert ourselves in any way, they don't diminish as quickly, and sometimes they never go away. Sometimes as we get older, we just have these aches and pains that never go away. Well, guess what? A lot of that has to do with enzyme deficiency. It's the enzymes that help us recover. It's the enzymes that help us get over the aches and pains that follow a workout. This is why enzyme supplements can be so important, not just for food, but for the body. If you're not recovering from exercise like you should, or if you're constantly dealing with aches and pains that don't seem to go away, or if you just had a surgical procedure, a fall, or bruising, using enzymes can be an effective way to help you recover faster. Workout warriors, athletes. If you're one of those folks that just works out on weekends or plays softball or tennis on the weekends and you find that you're not recovering as quickly, use digestive enzymes. If you have an elderly loved one who believes that their aches and pains are just something they got to live with, give them some digestive enzymes. Give them the gift of a good digestive enzyme supplement, especially one that has proteases. Protease. Ace means enzyme. Means protein. A protease is a protein digestive protein digesting enzyme. Get them Youngevity's Ultimate Enzymes, which is a protease enzyme. Even protease-rich fruits like papaya, pineapple, kiwi, those can be helpful. Give them to folks who are elderly. Enzymes can be also helpful for other disease states, for heart disease, for pancreatic issues, for liver issues. According to Dr. James Beard, who's a Scottish physician who wrote, I forget the name of his book, The Enzyme Cure. I forgot the name of his book. It was a famous book at the turn of the 20th century, and also Dr. Nicholas Gonzalez, who was his protege. You can treat cancer with digestive enzymes. Cancer is the second leading cause of death in this country, and according to both Doctors Beard and Gonzalez, cancer responds positively to enzyme therapy, which, if you understand the nature of enzymes as metabolic stimulants, it makes perfect sense. If you're using proteolytic enzymes, however, for a non-digestive health issue, keep in mind you want to take them on an empty stomach. If you take your proteolytic enzymes with meals, they're going to help you digest your food, which is not a bad thing. But if you are looking to take your proteolytic enzymes for aches and pains, for heart disease, for cancer, you want to take it on an empty stomach. Take them on an empty stomach. And make sure you're activating them with apple cider vinegar, something acid. Enzymes require certain conditions to work correctly, and pH has to be relatively low for them to be activated. All right, I'm Pharmacist Ben. You're listening to The Bright Side. We'll be back right after this. Okay, we are back on The Bright Side. I'm Pharmacist Ben. 844-236-6010 is our number. We'll get your calls here momentarily. We've got Dr. Andrew Lang coming up at the bottom of the hour. His book, Getting at the Root of Disease, treating the deepest source of disease, which, as will come to as no surprise to anybody who listens to this program, the deepest root of disease is not physical. It's mental and emotional, maybe even spiritual. Spiritual, mental, emotional, physical, SMEP, I call it. Those are all the elements of health. By the time something shows up physically, I discovered this very early in my practice. By the time something shows up physically, you're most likely dealing with mental and emotional and spiritual issues that have not been addressed. Now, of course, if you have an acute problem, perhaps that's not the case. If you fall and hurt yourself or you get an infection. But for long-term chronic degenerative diseases, there is almost always a mental, emotional, and spiritual component that lies at the deepest source of your chronic health challenge. And we marginalize these aspects of health at our own peril. If we do not focus, or we do not at least place some attention on the mental and emotional and spiritual aspects of our health challenges, we're missing leverage points. We're missing power. And whenever somebody has a health challenge and they use nutritional supplements and they start to get better and then they plateau, I always know that there are mental and emotional and spiritual aspects of their health and their lack of health that are not being addressed. I don't like this idea of, oh, I have this problem, what vitamin do I take? I have this health challenge, what mineral am I missing? This whole idea of using nutrients like we use drugs to kind of allopathically treat health challenges may sometimes work in the short term, and it's certainly if you have, if you're suffering strictly from a frank nutritional deficiency, just completely missing vitamin C or completely missing iodine or selenium or such, perhaps you can show up with a disease state will show up, but that rarely occurs. Always, or at least almost always, there's going to be mental, emotional, and spiritual components to health challenges, and that's why it's so important to recognize all of the dimensions of health and wellness. Yes, nutrition is important. Yes, biochemistry is important. Yes, supplementation can help in dietary strategies and movement in the fourfold square of physical health, movement, rest, respiration, and nutrition. Obviously, they're important. But do not marginalize, do not dismiss all of the aspects of health if you are serious about getting better. Mental, spiritual, mental, emotional, and physical. All right, 844-236-6010. Let me just read this one story, and then we'll get your calls. Hidradenitis and suppurativa and psoriasis risks for obstructive sleep apnea. Sleep apnea is a condition where you can't breathe when you're sleeping. People who snore, heavy snorers, or people who are mouth breathers oftentimes are suffering from sleep apnea. Well, it turns out that if you have hidradenitis suppurativa, which is an awful skin condition where you get blisters in your groin and your armpits and various parts of your body, serious, just pussy blisters, and psoriasis. Both psoriasis patients and hidradenitis suppurativa patients are much more likely to suffer from obstructive sleep apnea, which really goes to show you the relationship between all health challenges. Health challenges do not occur in a vacuum. We know obstructive sleep apnea is also associated with dysglycemia, messed up blood sugar, and obesity, and metabolic syndrome in general, which is a blood sugar problem. So now we have a link between blood sugar issues and skin issues, hidradenitis suppurativa and psoriasis. All of this, it goes to show you can't treat health challenges in a vacuum, and just like you cannot treat health challenges just by focusing physically, you can't treat a single health issue just by targeting that health issue. That is one of the major reasons for the failure of the modern medical model, which focuses on specific symptoms and specific disease states, not on the whole body and not on all of the dimensions of healing. If you are dealing with obstructive sleep apnea, you want to consider it to be first and foremost, from a physical perspective, of course, dysglycemia, messed up blood sugar. If you have dysglycemia, you want to, in turn, consider that to be an eating issue. Dysglycemia, not diabetes. Dysglycemia should be backtracked to issues processing energy, and that always starts off at the level of the intestine. And if you really want to simplify it, go to the gut, the leaky gut. Leaky gut syndrome leading to sticky, toxic, dirty blood. If you want to do one thing to get better, if you want to do one thing to live a long life, if you want to do one thing to reverse no matter what your health challenge is, focus on that leaky gut. Using probiotics, using digestive enzymes, using dietary strategies, elimination diet, eating less food, really isn't that difficult. All right, 844-236-6010 is our number. Let's go to Chris in Texas. Good morning, Chris. What's up, buddy?
Hello, Ben. Listen.
Hello, Chris. Yes, sir. I'm listening.
I need help, but guess what? The people in my social circle, the people that I know, they need help even more than I need help. And so what I'm telling you right now is, listen, Dr. Sherry Tenpenny, how often do you get her on your program?
She's going to be on, and I tried to get her. She's booked for months, so I got her on in May. I love Sherry Tenpenny. I'm a big fan.
I know. Because she's so concise, and she's such a good teacher, and she's qualified, and she's been through the whole allopathic rigmarole. Okay,
yeah, so that's right.
She knows both. She knows both sides of the fence.
Right.
That's why she's so important. And you know what? Listen, forget about my topic. Forget about my original topic. Look, just get Dr. Sherry Tenpenny on, and
I will.
We're done. Okay.
She's already booked. She's already booked for May. She does. You know, she has a vaccine class that you can spend. It's like $9.99 to sign up for her vaccine class. You know about this? It's really cool.
But what I'm saying is, look, the only surviving member of the medical community that is qualified to talk about this stuff, you know, with the COVID vaccines and everything, all the above, is Dr. Sherry Tenpenny. I'm so impressed with her. Look, just get her on your program. Forget about my topic.
Thank you, Chris. I've already forgotten about it. I didn't even know what it was, but I've forgotten about it. And thank you for bringing that up. I appreciate it, Chris.
Great.
And by the way, you're welcome, Chris. Thank you for your call. Appreciate it. I love Dr. Tenpenny. She has a Vaccine University course that you can sign up for. It's only $9.99. Go to vaccineu.com. vaccineu.com, and that's for Vaccine University. She talks a lot about something called cognitive dissonance, and this idea that when we hear something that we just don't agree with, we don't buy into it. It doesn't compute. If it's dissonant with what we're already thinking, we just kind of ignore it. It's kind of an interesting topic. A lot of healthcare professionals suffer from cognitive dissonance when it comes to vaccines, and they just are oblivious to the problems associated with vaccines. By the way, I got a really interesting message yesterday from a gal. She says to me, she texted me, she said she had a loved one, and her loved one suffered a heart attack, and now they want to put the loved one on heparin, which is a blood thinner, and she wanted to know about heparin. So I started texting back and forth with her, and she says to me, oh, he's perfectly healthy, and all of a sudden he had a heart attack, and I can't figure out why. And as I'm texting her, asking her some questions, she mentions, oh yeah, he had the Pfizer vaccine, the first shot of the Pfizer vaccine before he had his blood clot, before he had his heart attack, and his blood clot. She couldn't figure out why he had the blood clot. I said, well, maybe it has something to do with the vaccine. She said, no, the doctor said it had nothing to do with the vaccine, even though this guy was perfectly healthy, got vaccinated, and then he had a heart attack, and then he had blood clots, or he had blood clots and then a heart attack, and the doctors had nothing to do with each other. And the funniest thing of all is now he can't wait to have his second shot, even after all that, because the doctor said it had nothing to do with his vaccine. What craziness we live in the world, we live with in the world today. All right, Dr. Andrew Lang is going to be with us, getting at the root, treating the deepest source.
Complement your health.
We are back on the bright side. I'm Pharmacist Ben. Thanks for joining us. We're on the air Monday through Friday, 8 to 9 Pacific, 10 to 11 Central Time, and 24/7 on our archive pages, benfuchsarchives.com. Thank you to Peter in the UK for setting that up with a search engine, no less. If you miss a program or you want to review a specific topic, head to benfuchsarchives.com. Also, brightsideben.com. We have archives, lots of archives, 11 years of archived information, as well as a search engine. And you can also go to pharmacistben.com, criticalhealthnews.com, or brightsideben.com to purchase longevity products or to sign up to join the Brightside Ben team. And please take a look at our Truth Skin Health products, all formulated in my compounding pharmacy for wound healing. Wound healing equals beauty, never any preservatives, fragrances, fillers, waxes, emulsifiers, water, silicone, vegetable oil, nothing your skin doesn't need or doesn't want in any of our Truth Skin Health products. And they work. They heal the skin, they beautify the skin, and that's why we have 1,600 plus, going on 1,700 4- and 5-star reviews, which you can take a look at. TruthReviewed.com for our reviews, TruthTreatments.com to purchase Truth Skin Health products, TruthReviewed.com and TruthTreatments.com. All right, I am stoked to have our guest on today. I've known Dr. Andrew Lang for decades, over 30, pushing 30 years now. Dr. Lang is a homeopathic physician. He's been the chair of the Department of Homeopathic Medicine and a supervising clinical physician at Bastyr University in Seattle. He's also the author of a super cool book called Getting at the Root, Treating the Deepest Source of Disease, and he is currently doing a study on women's sexual health. Please welcome to the bright side my friend, Dr. Andrew Lang. What's up, Dr. Lang?
Thank you, Ben. So good to talk with you, always.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for coming on the bright side as well. So, what the heck is homeopathy anyway? We hear about it all the time. There's a relationship, obviously, to homeopathy and pharmacy. Can you explain it in a nutshell?
Well, first of all, I have to correct you a little bit because I'm a naturopathic physician. That's how I'm licensed. And naturopathic doctors go to a medical school for 4 years after their pre-medical studies, and then they're accredited and licensed by the states that license naturopathic doctors. But I was always interested in homeopathy because even in high school, I was taking this course in my senior year it was in a bookstore and also had herbs that they were selling there. But the guy mentioned that the local hospital in Pittsburgh, the Shadyside Homeopathic Hospital, used to, have doctors who were homeopathic doctors. And up until the 40s, they had homeopathic medical schools in this country. Also, there was a hospital. There were 50 homeopathic hospitals in this country at the turn of the last century. So I figured if doctors are practicing a form of natural medicine in a hospital, something was there. So I had to investigate it. And what it really is about how the body responds to toxins and how you stimulate the body to respond to a disease rather than trying to control it from the outside.
So it's like that. Is it like vaccination? Is it similar to vaccination?
Well, Hahnemann, interestingly enough, was a big supporter of Jenner. The guy who started homeopathy, this was like in 1810, he wrote this book.
Edward Jenner, the father of vaccination.
Yeah, and Jenner developed the first official vaccines for smallpox.
Right.
The difference being that in vaccinations, you use the disease itself to stimulate the immune system. In homeopathy, you use a substance in nature, say a plant, metal, a mineral salt, or even a chemical, theoretically, to stimulate the body's response. And it mimics the disease. In other words, a disease that produces the hair of the dog that bit you.
So it is a type. It is a type of vaccination, except instead of using the pathogen like an ordinary vaccine, you're using something in nature. Is that correct?
Exactly. And,
wow, that's interesting.
It can produce the symptoms of the disease. So if a healthy person takes it and they develop what we call side effects, those are actually the distinguishing characteristics that guide you to the medicine. Describe it more accurately rather than based on one symptom.
Give an example of like a plant a plant material that would be used homeopathically or as a homeopathic vaccine.
Well, I'll give you an example that I did recently. I was swimming in the ocean, and I developed this kind of ear infection, and I was doing everything I could for it. I was, putting alcohol on it, on and on, and it wasn't getting better. And then I finally woke up, and I was like, what an idiot you are, Andrew. You know what to do for this. So I took a plant called pulsatilla. It's the windflower. And it grows in Boulder, right on the streams going up into the mountains. In the spring, it's one of the first flowers that comes up. It's one of the main remedies for kids' earaches. And I used to treat a lot of kids with earaches without antibiotics. And one of the remedies I used was pulsatilla. That's one level it works at. On another level, on the psychological level, as you develop a deeper understanding of the medicine's use, it's for people who yield all the time, who give in to others, who other people dominate. And I used to use it, I call it the divorce remedy. If people are in abusive relationships, I don't advise people get divorced. I think marriage is sacred. But if they're in a horrible relationship and the person is dominating them and controlling them and making their lives miserable and they can't make the decision to get out, I give them pulsatilla.
What is it about pulsatilla that would make it good for earaches or also for yielding? What are the qualities of the plant?
Well, if you look at the plant itself, I don't know why. I don't know what the connection is with earaches. When they did the toxicological studies on healthy people, they produced earaches, but it tends to produce an overproduction of mucus if you took too much. So using less of it, it's a big asthma remedy, by the way. So the overproduction of mucus, the overproduction of earwax or ear fluids, or blocking up of the eustachian tube, all those kind of things. On the other hand, when they gave it to people, they became more fearful. They became more feeling vulnerable. They had dreams of robbers entering their house, things like that. And so they clinically started to use it, and they saw these changes in people. and they started to have an understanding of the type of people. They tend to be more, people who have more weight on their bodies, people who tend to take on more weight. And if you think about it, people who are depressed and oppressed don't get out to exercise as much, and they tend to get more obese.
So if you're taking it in large quantities, you get these symptoms. How is it that if you take it in small quantities, you actually heal an earache, or you heal a psychological element like yielding, or like inability to yield?
Well, I think it has to do with...
Andrew, I hate to do this to you. We got to take a break. We got to take a commercial break. So hang on to that thought. I want to know how that relationship works. Why, if it's toxic or you take too much, it has one kind of symptom. One thing happens, and if you take just a little bit, you actually can get healing properties. Hang on to that thought. We'll be back with Dr. Andrew Lang on the Bright Side right after this. All right, we're back on the Bright Side. I'm Pharmacist Ben. We're talking to Dr. Andrew Lang, naturopathic physician and homeopathist, and author of the book Getting at the Root of Disease, Treating the Deepest Source of Depression. Andrew, I want to talk about your study, your woman's sexual libido study. But before we get to that, real quickly, just real succinctly, pulsatilla causes its toxic manifestations are excessive mucus production, but yet you use it for earaches. What is it about the pulsatilla that when it's toxic it causes excessive mucus, but you can use it homeopathically in order to treat earaches, which presumably are a sign of excess mucus production?
Well, it's a matter of awareness. The body isn't aware that it's overreacting. So it's like a thermostat. How do you control it? Do you control it by opening the windows? It's too hot in this room, let's open the windows. No, you go to the thermostat and you turn it down. Do you need an antidepressant to treat depression? Or do you look at the deeper causes of depression? I mean, the real question is, how do regular drugs work? They didn't know how aspirin worked until the 1980s when they figured out the hormones of prostaglandins and how they reduced inflammation in the body. They didn't know, and they still don't know or put into practice the fact that serotonin is not produced in the brain. It's produced in the gut.
Right.
So you have to heal the gut and have a good functioning gut to increase serotonin production so that people aren't depressed.
So
they don't look at how breathing affects your physiology. Everybody thinks pH comes from eating food.
Right. That's right. That's right.
Food. No, it comes from your respiration.
That's 100% correct. We talk about that all the time. But I'm still confused about how you can use something that is toxic if you take too much of it, and somehow it will have a healing property if you don't take a lot. If you take just a trace amount. In fact, not even a trace amount, like just an electromagnetic amount, just a quantum amount. Homeopathy works at quantum levels. It doesn't even. There's not even measurable amounts. So how is it that something that's toxic if you take a large amount of it is somehow healing if you take a quantum amount of it? That's the part that's confusing to me, and that seems like kind of
when it sees an image.
Say it again.
In other words, you read something on the newspaper, you react to it. You see a fire, you react to it. You see a pretty woman or a pretty guy.
At a subtle level. Yeah, at a subtle level, you're saying.
Your whole physiology changes.
Yeah, that's right.
It's working almost at the level of an image or memory.
Got it.
That's triggered you to respond. That's the way vaccines work. Yeah.
That makes perfect sense. So when you see something visually, you're getting an image of it. You can change your entire biochemistry just with that quantum image, or just a memory, or just kind of an electromagnetic flux in your brain can change your entire biochemistry. Is that kind of the same thing as a homeopathic remedy?
Exactly.
I kind of get that. That makes sense.
When you step on a nail, your neurons immediately respond.
Yeah. That's interesting.
You go into action.
So it's almost like it's an image. It's almost like it's an image. It's like just the electromagnetics of the homeopathic remedy can create a change in the entire biochemical environment of the body, or milieu of the body.
Right. I mean, the mechanics of homeopathy aren't fully understood because nobody wants to put $1 million or $1 billion into studying it, of course, because it's not profitable, by the way. But they can't prove it doesn't work. because there's too many clinical cases, thousands of doctors all around the world, hospitals in India, hospitals in Mexico, hospitals in Brazil.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Use homeopathy to treat serious epidemic diseases.
Is that, I want to get to your study here, but just real quickly, is that the same idea as the Bach flower remedies? Do they work the same way, this idea that an image of something, an image of the electromagnetic image of a flower can change your entire biochemical milieu?
Well, Bach was a homeopathic doctor, and prior to that, he was a gastroenterologist, and he developed what he called Bach bowel nosodes, which were the first use of anaerobic bacteria from the gut to treat people.
Really? What year was this? What year were we talking about?
That was he started his work in 1910.
Wow.
And then he retired at a young age. He actually died early. And he developed the Bach flower remedies when he was living in the countryside as a retired physician.
Are those homeopathic? Is that is the principle?
Yeah, they are included in the homeopathic pharmacopoeia, which is recognized by Congress. Yeah. All
right. Well, there's so much I want to talk to you about. I haven't even touched this deepest source of disease concept, which I love. But we're running out of time. Tell us about your study, this enhancing women's sexual libido and health study.
Well, this product, I do clinical trials. My website for that is the Lange, Lange, researchgroup.com. And I do regular studies. I've done studies for Daniel Amen and Mark Hyman and different people. And it's to see whether their products work or not. Now, most people who bring out products on the market don't test them, don't do clinical trials. But these guys do good clinical trials, and they're trying to accommodate, the requirements of the government. So this study is a product that two friends of mine developed, and they asked me to do an objective scientific study on it to see whether it really works.
Is it herbal?
Their goal is women get the short stick of medicine. And attention to the needs of women, not only in terms of their sexuality and desire levels and their ability to enjoy sexuality, but also their general health, are often ignored. So they put together a product that enhances these functions. In other words, there's Viagra for men, but there's nothing in the market for women that really addresses their personal and, their personal needs.
Is it herbal?
It's totally herbal, yeah.
Not supplement, not nutrition. Not nutritional. It's herbal material, not nutrition.
There is some nutrition in it. But the focus is certain herbal substances which increase, because everybody focuses on estrogen with women. Mm-hmm. But a lot of the sexuality and sexual
progesterone.
Testosterone, actually.
Testosterone. Very nice. So these are testosterone-supporting herbs and nutrients?
Yeah, also vascular. In other words, a lot of the issues of male sexual function are the same in women. It has to do with vascular and increasing blood flow.
Vasodilators.
Treatment comes from is having full blood flow in the area.
So can you tell us what they are? Are they proprietary? Can you tell us what some of these are?
No. And the beauty of it is they use really high-quality substances. And the main one is Damiana.
Damiana. I love Damiana.
Yeah. But the other
Damiana,
one is potassium nitrate.
What is the other one?
Potassium nitrate works beautifully to increase
saltpeter? Is that saltpeter?
No, that's natron sulfuric. Wait, saltpeter was natron sulfuricum, I think.
Okay.
And potassium nitrate is what's high in beets, and that's why people are recommending beets.
The nitrates. So they're vasodilators. The nitrates are vasodilators. Potassium nitrate. Let me just get this. I'm sorry, because we're going to run out of time. I just want to get this down. Potassium nitrate and Damiana. That's the main things in there? The main ingredients?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, Damiana will get you intoxicated. Have you ever done just straight Damiana? I've done Damiana tincture. I actually
took this product for a month to see what it would do to me.
Yeah.
And I have to say, it was amazing.
Interesting. So how do people get a hold of this stuff? Or can they be in the study?
They can be in the study if they're between the ages of 25 to 65, women only. And they can either get in touch with me through andrewlang.com or the study site, which is thelangresearchgroup.com. I shouldn't have used such a long name, but I did.
And it's Lang is Lange. There's an E at the end, right?
Yeah.
All right, so it's Andrew Lang, Lange, andrewlang.com, and the langresearchgroup.com. And you're looking for participants?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, we got about 40 more people we want in the study.
Awesome. All right, good deal. Well, Andrew, we're out of time, and there's so much more I want. They get paid on top of that? Oh, that's awesome. Oh, so the langresearchgroup.com and andrewlang.com. If anyone's interested in participating in a sexual libido study, women age 25 to 65, and you get paid too. Andrew, I want to get you back on because I really want to talk about treating the deepest source of disease. It's a great book, and Getting at the Root is the name of the book. It's a great book, and it's a great idea. Thank you, Dr. Lang, for being on the bright side. I'll talk to you soon, buddy.
My pleasure.
All right. That was Dr. Andrew Lang, the langresearchgroup.com, andrewlang.com, if you want to participate in the study and get paid for it. Sexual libido, women's sexual libido, health, libido and health if you're between the ages of 25 and 65. Thanks for listening to The Bright Side, friends. I'm Pharmacist Ben. Have a wonderful, beautiful, awesome, spectacular day. We'll talk to you later, folks. Bye for now.